January the 26th, 2022. Guys, you're looking at this afternoon's update from AccuWeather. It says a bomb cyclone set to blitz Boston with blizzard conditions. And it's wintertime and we know these things happen. Guys, we just had record cold a few days ago in this last Arctic dip that tells you that grand solar minimum is occurring. There's a tremendous amount of energy that's being transferred between these Arctic dips and the warmer air that's along the East Coast because of the Gulf Stream, guys, and along in the Gulf of Mexico also. But once you come out of the southern tip of Florida, through the Florida Straits, and this Gulf Stream goes up the East Coast, that's warmer water. So the way a northeaster sets up is that very cold air dips out of the Arctic, pushes offshore, and hits that warm Gulf Stream. Your nor'easters pop up, and you have severe snow along the coast. Now, the bomb cyclone is when you have a drop in pressure of 24 millibars within 24 hours. That sets up hurricane-like conditions very quickly because of the drop in pressure. Now, we're going to look at a couple of maps, and we could be seeing record snow. We just saw record low temperatures throughout the nation, 50s, 30s in places. It broke all records. But one of the things about this transfer of energy that's concerning to me, and I'll start with that before we get into the nor'easter itself, or the bomb cyclone or bombogenesis, is I'm going to pause this video. Now, what you're looking at is from AccuWeather. This is starting Friday. And I paused their video here because there's no charts. A lot of times they will have charts in their articles, certain weather maps and all. But I just paused it here where he's talking about, and this is the meteorologist at AccuWeather, this cold front dipping out, this Arctic blast. It's dipping down across the Great Lakes. And there's two models. The European model has it coming closer to the East Coast. What it's going to do, let me back up, dip down through the Great Lakes, make that U-turn in the southeast and go out go into the Atlantic. Now, the European model is showing it going closer to shore. The U.S. model is a little further offshore, and those models will merge in the next day. But if the closer it is to shore, the more snow that's going to be dumped along the East Coast. They're talking about 2 to 3 feet in places, guys, and very cold temperatures. But I paused it right here because they're not really going into a lot of detail about it. But notice that this is the energy, or upper level energy. And the red is the highest, going down into the yellow and gold. Orange, your lowest amount of energy. But I want you to pay a very close attention. This is not being talked about right now very much. Notice this band that comes off of Texas out into the Gulf, comes up through Louisiana. Now, this is just where I paused it. It's going to sweep south, just like this. But this band, guys, because we got such a difference in this Arctic dip, and the warmer air, again, offshore, has a lot to do with the Gulf Stream, is going to cause chaotic tornadoes. That's what I'm worried about. Very high winds. This is ahead of the cold front, moving offshore, starting the nor'easter. But you notice this red line, guys. That's your upper level energy. So we're seeing very drastic changes between hot and cold, again, because of grand solar minimum. But check that line out. It's going to sweep down. It's going to start intensifying when it gets into the Gulf of Mexico because of the warmer water. And you can see from Georgia, through Alabama, Mississippi, offshore of Louisiana, how the storm is forming. So this is Friday going into Saturday. This is Wednesday night. I'm currently at 5:15 p.m. It's 56 outside. We're still in cool weather, guys, but it looks like the second week in February for everyone in the southeast, at least, it's going to start back into a warming trend. But each time they say that, let me just say this, there's a new dip coming out of the Arctic. But again, this energy line you're seeing offshore, guys, could be devastating in tornadoes because of what we're seeing as far as the extremes in hot to cold. And this is the current update, guys. It says a still developing winter storm is set to become a major nor'easter that will bombard New England with heavy snow and blizzard conditions this weekend. Winter storm watches were issued for portions of eastern Massachusetts, eastern Connecticut, and Rhode Island on Wednesday in anticipation of some of the worst conditions from the storm. The watches will go into effect at 12 a.m. on Saturday. Areas further south in the mid-Atlantic will not escape the storm as several inches of snow and major travel disruptions are expected. Don't be traveling. Now, when they say 12 a.m. on Saturday, guys, this thing is going to be wrapping into and starting the effects on Friday. The area we think will be hit the hardest and will be at risk for closures will be central and eastern Long Island to New England. This is from AccuWeather's chief on-air meteorologist, Bernie Rayno. AccuWeather forecasters were growing more confident on Wednesday that southern New England will face the most significant impacts that snow totals could reach or exceed a foot. Again, that's the U.S. track. If it does a Euro track, we're talking 2 to 3 feet, which again brings it closer to shore. This is going to be an intensifying storm that will produce a lot of wind, which raises concerns for blowing and drifting snow. Keyword, power outages and blizzard conditions. Some areas, they're saying that there's also a serious coastal flooding and beach erosion threat, especially in eastern Massachusetts. Now, something unique about this Arctic dip, guys, going so far south, that you could have freezing temperatures almost into Miami, Florida. Very cold going all the way into Cuba and the Bahamas. And it's not mentioned in the newscast, but you got an incredible python problem in Florida, from the Everglades out through all the swamps, because normally you don't have these cold temperatures that far south. Every once in a while it happens, but right now that may be a positive to this, but guys, this is dipping all the way into Cuba as far as this Arctic blast. The storm will develop off the coast of the Carolinas late this week, could rapidly strengthen enough as it moves northward along the east coast into the weekend to be dubbed a bomb cyclone. Bomb cyclone or bombogenesis occurs, like I said before, 24 millibars drop in pressure in 24 hours. The plunging pressure will cause air to rush into the center of the storm. So what you've got, dropping pressure over the warm area of the Atlantic where the Gulf Stream is. And so that creates what they're calling a giant vacuum. The high winds will pull in copious amounts of moisture, helping to enhance precipitation. What does that mean? Snow. The combination of winds frequenting 40 miles per hour or greater along the heavy snow will reduce the visibility to a quarter of a mile or less for several hours, triggering blizzard conditions in portions of New England. Guys, take a look at how wide the swath on this map is in the blue. It's talking about whiteouts. Saturday through Saturday night, extensive blowing and drifting, power outages, closures possible. Snow accumulations of 12 to 18 inches with a local storm max of 36 inches are predicted to occur. This spans from Boston all the way from up to Bangor, Maine. Whiteouts, extensive blowing, drifting, power outages, closures possible. Again, very wide area. And this blue track that you're looking at is the U.S. Tracking. The Euro map has it a little further to the left or to the west, and somewhere in between that is where we're going to meet, just like tracking a hurricane. And this is the section that where it comes in to determining whether the U.S. or the European model, which one are the most accurate. Again, it will be in between, but it says the snow will be heavy, enough to shovel and plow in much of the Interstate 95 corridor from Virginia to New York City, leading to slippery and slow travel with the risk of accidents and traffic standstills. Guys, if you get into that higher average of snowfall, if you remember back in the 80s, some of this area, the roads were closed. And by the time the snowstorm was over, it was up into the windshields of the cars stranded on the highway. It says that should the storm jog as little as 50 miles further to the west or to the left, that's the Euro model. From the current projected model to the 3 to 6 inch snow accumulations predicted in the zone from Philadelphia to Washington, D.C., and the 6 to 12 inches forecast from New York City to Ocean City, Maryland, could double. However, if the opposite happens and the storm tracks 50 miles further to the east, snowfall in these areas could be halved. So, the European, U.S. model in conflict. But if you double the 12 inches coming in from New York to Ocean City, guys, you're 2 feet of snow. You know what that does. The sprawling New York City metro area, in particular, is likely to experience a wide range of accumulations. In northwestern New Jersey, a few inches of snow could fall, but areas in central Long Island, New York, will face over a foot of snow. Any small shift in the storm's track to the east or west could mean the difference between a manageable snowfall or blizzard conditions in the 5 boroughs of the city. The intense storm has the potential to shut down airports such as Boston Logan, and could lead to scores of flight cancellations in New York City, Philadelphia, and Washington, D.C. that can have a ripple effect across the nation. Forecasters advise avoiding travel across much of New England during the storm on Saturday and Saturday nights. Important the timing. Heavy snow rates between 1 to 3 inches per hour along the extensive blowing and drifting snow will create extremely dangerous travel conditions. So all of you guys that are planning on traveling, don't do it, and all my friends that are truckers out there, plan accordingly. Snow drifts of several feet could occur in open areas. The storm is likely to maintain that intensity for a period of 8 to 12 hours, making it difficult to impossible for crews to keep up with roadways. Motorists who venture out could risk becoming stranded. You don't want to do that in this type of weather. Further to the south, parts of the southeast and mid-Atlantic will be sideswiped by the big storm. Up to a few inches of snow could fall across portions of eastern North Carolina and southeastern Virginia that were hit by significant snow and ice this past weekend. Blowing and drifting of snow could occur in the storm's wake. Should the storm strengthen to its maximum potential, hurricane-force winds of 75 miles per hour or greater could be felt in southeastern New England, causing power outages. Roads prone to flooding during nor'easters along the coast in eastern Massachusetts and along the north shore of Long Island are likely to be inundated with significant overwash from the storm. You got a Cat 1 hurricane or snow-a-cane or ice-a-cane, whatever you want to call it. It says the combination of the astronomical events of the new moon this weekend, there's your tide, can make the high tides early Saturday morning and Saturday evening most problematic. Guys, think about this. Moderate coastal flooding is anticipated from New Jersey to eastern New England, with a storm surge averaging 2 to 3 feet. Then you got high tide. Now, this is what they're calling their power outage risk map Friday night into Saturday night. And you can see in the yellow, localized power outages. You get into the orange, regional, and along the coast here. In the red, widespread. But, guys, the thing they're not talking about enough for me is the fact that high upper-level energy that's going to move through Texas and Louisiana, Mississippi, Georgia, South Carolina, those tornadoes can knock out power there too. But they're trying to, right now, and maybe they will update that information, but they're trying to determine, again, where in between the line of the Euro and the U.S. model this event will occur. And again, using the U.S. model, you can see from Washington up through Boston and north of there, the snowfall amounts. Washington, D.C., not much. Well, it's enough to shut down roads 2 to 4 inches. Baltimore, 2 to 4. Philadelphia, 3 to 6. New York, 6 to 12 inches. Boston, Massachusetts, 12 to 8 inches, or 12 to 18 inches, a foot and a half. But if the Euro model pulls in, remember what they're saying, it will double these numbers. So Boston, you could get 36 inches. New York, 24. Philadelphia, a foot. You can do the math. And so we're going to watch it very closely. It's like watching a hurricane with this event. Again, when this cold front comes offshore, it's going to push to Cuba and into the Bahamas. And I could have named the video Frozen Pythons, but we'll just have to wait and see. But guys, this is something to pay very close attention to when grand solar minimum storms will become more extreme. We're watching it. You watch it. It's a heads up. Be safe.